So let's talk about what actually creates attraction with an emotionally available, high value partner. Not just to get attention, but to actually build connection. Because the games, the tactics, the other formulas that you've been given are not going to cut it when it comes to attracting a high value partner, someone who's going to enhance your life, somebody who you could actually build something with, who's going to bring peace and stability and be able to create something lasting. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy you're here. I decided to just hop on here impromptu. I had a little extra time to answer all of your burning dating questions. So as you come into the room, I want to start talking about what actually creates attraction with a high value partner, that partner who's actually going to enhance your life. And it's not games, it's not tactics, it's actually the opposite. Because a lot of what you are being taught, what you're hearing online from other people, is actually going to continue to attract emotionally unavailable people. And no matter how attractive this person might be, no matter how amazing they are on paper, if they are unavailable, the relationship is going to be short-lived and it's going to be painful. It's why you continue to feel alone in relationships. It's why you continue to feel like you're walking on eggshells. And it's also the reason why it never lasts. Why, as soon as you hit a road bump, you're both quick to pull away and leave, or one person is quick to pull away and leave. It's also why you feel like you have to be somebody you're not or be perfect. So, when you are actually attracting a high value partner, you feel more like yourself. They actually light you up. They bring sides of you out that you have actually not even given yourself permission to bring out. So hello, everybody. Start asking me any of your burning dating questions in the chat, in the comments as you come in, and I will get to them, as many as I can over the next 20 minutes or so. So great to see all of you. For those of you who are new here, I'm Emily Freeman, dating and relationship coach, and I'm the person you come to when you have it all except for the dream partner and you want that lasting, fulfilling relationship. All right, so what actually is attractive to your dream partner, whether you're a man or a woman? And there are going to be nuances between if you are a man trying to attract a woman or a woman wanting to attract a man, and I will address those. One of the first things to understand about attracting a high value partner is that a high value partner is going to value emotional availability and emotional awareness over anything else. So this is why every time you try to play hard to get, it backfires. The person either pulls away and you just assume they weren't that interested in you in the first place, or you attract somebody who's into you until you open up and then they pull away. They find something wrong with the relationship. So when you are wanting to attract a high value partner, it's important that you understand how to connect from your true self with a level of emotional availability. So this looks like, instead of telling a story to try to get them to like you, or asking certain questions or giving certain compliments in order to seek their approval, you actually have clarity on what you want in a partner. And therefore the conversation flows effortlessly based on the questions you would naturally ask to understand if they meet your criteria and your standards. This is also when the interactions flow, because the experiences you have are based on understanding if the two of you are going to be able to get along, if your values match. So it's less about the performative piece of what do I need to say or do to get this person to like me, and instead it's about how do I know if this person is right for me? This is what raises your value in their eyes, and they're like, all right, I see you. I see that you are on the same level as me, not saying that one person is better than the other, but meaning that you're both emotionally available. You're both looking for something that's not only exciting and fun and passionate, but is going to withstand the test of time and is going to allow you both to be in your full expression. The other thing that you should understand about attracting a high value partner and being attracted to them is that, like I said, the games are not going to work. What actually builds healthy attraction is polarity, which means there are just two opposing energies at play. They're like magnets, right? So these opposing energies, when it comes to dating as a man or a woman, are the masculine and feminine energies. And it's important to understand, yes, you may ask a question. I am waiting for anybody who wants to ask a question to ask a question. So please pop them in the chat and I will keep my eye on it. So when there's two opposing energies, the masculine and the feminine, this is what creates healthy polarity. Now, what's important though is we're not performing masculine energy or feminine energy. You first need to understand that these energies live in all of us. Whether you're a man or a woman, you have masculine energy and you have feminine energy. And when we get into a performative role in dating, meaning we're trying to impress somebody, we're trying to be what we think they want us to be, it's because we aren't actually integrated into these energies. There's just something that's disconnecting us from them. And so instead of coming off as genuine and confident, even if you think you're being confident, a high value person is going to see right through that. And they might not know exactly what it is, but it's that feeling that they get like, just wasn't there. Something was off. And it's because instead of actually embodying masculine or feminine energy and creating healthy polarity, you're trying to perform what you think they are, what someone else told you that you should be. And it's not coming off as authentic. It's coming off as affirmation seeking, which we all know creates that needy energy. I'm going to just look to see if there's any questions in here real quick. All right, no questions yet that are going to be answered. All right, so again, throw your questions in the comments. I'm here to answer them for as long as we can be here. Awesome. Okay, so the third thing that I want you to understand about attracting a high value partner, because this is just going to make your life so much easier. It's going to make dating feel fun again. Because you guys, let's remember, dating and love is supposed to be fun. This isn't something you just check the box for. You don't just have a partner because somebody told you that you should have one. No, you are your own sovereign being, right? When you are a high performer, you're not going to do something unless you know that there's a benefit to it. And when you know that there's a benefit to it, that's when you go all in. And right now, if you're not feeling all in on dating, if you're not feeling all in on that relationship, it's because you've taken the fun out of it. You've made it into something performative where you feel like you have to be something you're not, where you feel like you have to live up to someone else's standards instead of holding them to your own. And part of this is because you've equated love with self-abandonment. So what is self-abandonment? Self-abandonment is when we ultimately put our own needs and desires aside in order to get somebody else to like us. So we start doing things that we think will make us attractive to somebody else that are really against our own nature, our own character. So this can look like people pleasing, saying yes to things that you don't actually want to say yes to, or feeling like you have to act a certain way that's out of alignment for you in order for them to accept you. And self-abandonment is a really tricky cycle because ultimately, the longer that it goes on, the more disconnected you feel from yourself and therefore the less confident. Because your relationship with yourself is number one. It is the thing that's going to allow you to feel confident and connected in a relationship at the same time. Because we've all felt that confidence in our lives and then we meet someone we're into and they go out the door, right? You're like, where is that confident version of me? Where did they go? Well, ultimately, they left the building because in your subconscious, you've been programmed to believe that you have to put all of your needs and desires away in order to be exactly what you think this person wants you to be. And that's self-abandonment. And this is why what I show you how to do, whether it's inside a one-on-one coaching container or in my programs like Love Unlocked or Dating Decoded, is that I actually show you how to build attraction with the person you actually want and with the person that you'll actually want to be with long term without using any games. Because games and tactics are ultimately another form of self-abandonment. We've stopped trusting our own inner guidance, meaning what we want, what we desire, what we feel, what we believe, in order to go off someone else's rules. And for a high performer, feeling like you can't lead yourself and that you need someone else to tell you how to be is the most disempowering thing that you can do to yourself. And it's why dating is no longer fun anymore. Dating becomes fun when you allow yourself to be in full expression, not in full expression of oversharing. That's a whole other story, which I actually go into in Dating Decoded and Love Unlocked, why we think oversharing is a symptom of being ourselves when actually it's a subconscious block that pushes away the right person, right? But when we're in our full expression, meaning just who we are at our core, we are open about what our truths are, we are secure in our boundaries, we communicate about our needs, we come from an energy of worthiness, that's when we're absolutely magnetic to the right person. And so this is why when people say, I don't know, it just felt like it clicked, it felt effortless, that's what they're talking about. Is that they stopped self-abandoning in order to be loved and instead stood in their full truth and allowed love to meet them there. So I'm going to see if there are any other questions here. I'll give us a minute. Oh, here we go. Okay. Hi, Johnny. Great question. Okay. How do you spot an avoidant who seems normal at the beginning? Ooh, I love this question because I see this happen so often. Because a lot of the time, someone who's avoidant does not appear avoidant on the first few dates, sometimes not even for the first couple of months. And the reason being is because depending on their level of avoidance, it's not necessarily activated until there is a certain level of intimacy. So for those of you who are not familiar with attachment styles, avoidance is one of the insecure attachment styles, and avoidance is ultimately created from a subconscious fear of intimacy or a subconscious fear of losing your freedom in a relationship. So an avoidant can actually appear really enthusiastic in the beginning. They can be asking you questions about yourself. They can be opening up. They can even be coming on pretty hot and heavy, promising certain things, saying they feel different with you, saying you feel like the one. But ultimately, they are incapable of actually meeting you in emotional availability or emotional intimacy at a certain point if they are unaware of their avoidance, right? There are plenty of avoidants who go through healing, who are self-aware, who are working through it. And it's actually a really beautiful experience you can have with your partner if you're both aware of your tendencies and can hold space for each other to actually heal. This is the beautiful part about getting into a partnership is we're allowed and afforded opportunities to heal deeper layers that allow us to be more free, more open, more fulfilled in partnership in the actual relationship than when we're just single. So if you are dating somebody and you are not sure if they're avoidant or not in the beginning, something you can do to spot this, there are two things. And I became pro at this because I was like an avoidant magnet. So there are two things. The first is someone who is avoidant will show enthusiasm. They'll be enthusiastic about you, but they won't necessarily be fully invested in you. So what does this look like in practical terms? Well, they'll be enthusiastic, saying they really like you, they think you're great, they've never met anyone like you before, but their investment level will not match that, meaning their communication will not be consistent. When you're with them, it'll feel very different than when you're apart from them. And ultimately, the pace in which they're trying to get to know you is much slower than the pace of actually just trying to get you, right? So they're going to be taking all the steps to try to get you to like them without actually getting to know you. And the other way to tell early on if someone is avoidant is to come into your body. So I learned this in my dating life, that if I left a date and I noticed myself really in my head, like ruminating, should I have said that? Should I have done that? I knew that there was a level of avoidance in the person that I had been on a date with. Because ultimately, the reason why I was doing that is because I had opened myself up, maybe not even talking a lot about myself, right? There wasn't necessarily oversharing, but energetically, I was open. I was available to creating connection. And that anxiety was coming up because they were not. They were sitting there, they were with me physically, but emotionally, they were not present. So that level of vulnerability, right, would open me up to feel anxiety. And this is why people talk about playing hard to get, right? Is like, oh, build that anxiety in somebody and then they'll be really into you. Because a lot of people equate that anxiety with, oh my gosh, I must really like this person. If I feel anxiety like this, that's butterflies. That means I just really care. Not necessarily. It can actually mean that you weren't met in emotional intimacy. So when that happens to someone who's secure, they're like, I didn't really feel it. I don't love that. When someone's insecure, that's when they start chasing that person. So if you're playing hard to get and that person starts chasing after you, just recognize when they catch up to you and you're in a relationship with them, you're now going to be met with a partner who is not in their own power, who isn't going to hold their own. And this is why you get into these disagreements that are never productive, but rather actually detract from your life and distract you from your mission, from your purpose, from your light, from your energy. Okay? Any other questions? We are opening it up to any questions about polarity, masculine and feminine energies, what creates attraction, how to know if somebody's right for you. I know you guys have a ton of questions, so don't be shy. And if you're the type of person who kind of holds yourself back from asking questions or putting yourself out there, this is your first little go at dating coaching and putting yourself out there, even when it feels uncomfortable, even if you feel like you're not going to say it perfectly. Because if you're feeling worried about saying something perfectly or, putting yourself out there in a way and being seen a certain way, that's going to show up in dating. And the person who is truly sovereign within themselves, who's grounded, who doesn't expect perfection from themselves, those are the people who are magnetic. Think about it. The people who are magnetic are never perfect. They're just so grounded in who they are. And they don't let anyone else's affirmation tell them that they should be someone or something different. You're here to listen and support. Amazing. Well, if there aren't any other questions, then we'll wrap up. So just remember, like, the three main things that we talked about tonight that are so important if you want to attract a high value partner, that partner who's going to enhance your life. If you actually want to make dating fun again, if you want to remind yourself of why you started this whole dating journey in the first place, why you actually want that connected partnership, then remember this, right? Number one is that emotional awareness, emotional availability will always be top priority to a high value partner looking for a long-term partnership. So if you're not stepping into that energy, they're not going to feel connected to you and attraction is not going to build. Number two, we're throwing games out. I cannot say it enough. The way to build healthy attraction is through polarity, meaning the opposing energies of the masculine and the feminine in dating. And this isn't something to perform. This is something to actually embody within yourself. And if you're feeling like you have to perform and be a certain way to be in your masculine or be in your feminine, it's because there's something disconnected there that's not actually allowing you to feel natural in that. And the third thing is people pleasing, self-abandonment is not love. Being needless, being desireless is not what makes you attractive to the right person. Because if you come off needless, you are going to be attracted to the person who never wants you to have any needs. So showing up in that authenticity of what you desire and really staying true to the worthiness around it, not entitlement, worthiness, two very different things, and you stay true to who you are without trying to bend and shapeshift yourself, that's when you become magnetic to the right person who's actually going to be your soulmate, your best friend, your lover, all wrapped into one. And if you're wondering, okay, this is great. Where do I start with all of this? I want to do this. This is where it's at. I'm done with the games. I want dating to be fun again. Then I have a couple of ways for you to do that. So I have two new mini courses that have come out. One is called Dating Decoded for men, and the other is Love Unlocked for women. And these audio trainings with integration prompts are going to help you understand what's actually blocking you from being in that magnetic energy that's going to draw the right person in, and then start actually rewiring it. So you're not only going to get the mindset shifts that you need to attract them, to be in that confident energy no matter what without performing, you're also going to understand how to handle real world dating experiences, how to build relationship skills. So right now, these two mini courses are only $33. I know I went insane when I decided what level of investment these were going to be. And they won't be for much longer because they are worth so much more than that. And the feedback will tell you everything. I have people telling me that one of the trainings is worth $1,000. So that will be up leveling in investment soon, those two courses. So if you want to get in on it for only $33, now is the time. So just DM me the word decoded if you're a man, or DM me the word unlocked if you're a woman. And these links are also in the link in my bio. And another way that we can start working through these different blocks and really identify, okay, you have it all together, right? Like you have the life, you have the success, you are taking care of yourself, you're ready for that partner, you know it, you know you want it, but there's these little things that just aren't clicking, whether you aren't attracting the right person or when you do, it's just never a symmetrical attraction. There's always one person who's more into the other, right? One person who's into each other. Am I saying that correctly? There's asymmetrical attraction there, right? And that's a really disheartening cycle to be in because it feels like every time you actually feel something for somebody that they don't feel it back. And so it can make you feel like, okay, is there something that I'm doing wrong, or is the dating world just broken? And it's not necessarily either. Okay, it's just what you're an energetic match for. And so this is what I help my VIP private clients work through really quickly inside an airtight confidential container where we are going to look at your dating life and understand how to get you week by week to your goal of having your dream partner, of feeling confident, or if you're in a relationship with somebody, having that harmonious relationship that you deeply desire. So if you want this high touch sort of support that I only reserve for a select few, just DM me the word VIP and then I'll personally be in contact with you to see if we're a good fit and talk about next steps. Amazing. It was so great to be with all of you here tonight. I'm so glad I jumped on here impromptu. I always love to hop on when I have the time. So, mwah! Know that you are loved, you are worthy, and you are on your way to your dream partner. All you have to do is look for the signs, listen, and continue to grow and evolve into the version of you who is ready for them, the version of you who matches the level of love that you are truly deserving of. All right, loves, Good night.